neural tube happens when you are an embryo. This is when it all happens. Then it is sealed up, and that is the neural tube. This is what will eventually house your spinal cord. Your neural tube can lead to a lot of defects. First, let's talk about the idea behind it. So this neural tube looks like this. This section here, when it's closed, is basically like a zipper. Close, 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 close. Okay, so it's basically a zipper longitudinally. This is a cross section. And with neural tube defects, first let's talk about what happens when you can't finish zipping it all the way up. Think about this being where your feet are at and this being where your brain should be at. So if it doesn't finish zipping up, it can't create your brain, which is called anencephaly. Anencephaly is usually caused by mothers who are alcoholic or malnourished. So if it doesn't zip up, it leads to anencephaly, which means no brain, without brain. And this is the cause. And another good thing to know is that their life expectancy is usually less than 1 year. Now let's talk about if it doesn't zip all the way down. This means that if it doesn't zip all the way down, you are going to have usually between L4 and L5 a gap in your bone, and it causes different kinds of spina bifida. With spina bifida, it's usually caused because of microfolic acid in your mother when she's pregnant with you. And spina bifida sometimes can be non-problematic. There's different phases. So essentially what's important is that you know what stage they're at. So if this is the human spine, so it kind of got that curve here, and then here's kind of where your sacrum's at. This is like L4, L5 basically. Okay, so if this is your spine, this is the neural tube. And on each vertebrae, it looks like this. Kind of looks like it has a fishtail and it has some arms, okay? Each vertebrae has that. So let's say this person is missing some of their spinous process, or maybe even a chunk out of their vertebrae here, a little bit of missing bone. Then that means cerebral spinal fluid can flow out of that area and create a nice bulge. But when there's no bulge and it's just missing, this is called colta. So now, go back to the theory that this person is missing that bone and they do have bulge. This is going to demonstrate our nerves that are in this area. So you have tons and tons of nerves. If your nerves are unaffected by this bulge, what they can do is they can surgically cut this bulge off and you'll have no problems. You won't need therapy. That is what's called meningosil. And that usually will not cause for further intervention because once it's cut, you don't have any problems. But let's say you have a bulge. You also have your nerves that said, oh, hey, look, there's something over here. They get all wisty-windy in there, and then they go back down there. So first off, when you think about your nerves, they grow very slowly and they also stretch. So what happens to this nerve that is this long when it's straight, when it has this kink in it, it becomes that long. Which means if this nerve, for instance, your sciatic nerve, reaches all the way to your feet, right? But if you have this bulge here, it can't reach to your feet, and that causes problems. And so that is what is called meningosil. So since you don't have a nerve meeting that, not only are you going to have problems like clubfoot and dropfoot, because you just don't have those nerves there, and the neural tube has the defect that made it so it can't even reach your feet. When the surgeon comes through and cuts this bulge off, because you're going to have to cut it off, it's also cutting nerves. So you're also going to have nerves healing. So this patient's going to have a lot of lower extremity complications. They'll also have incontinence. They're also usually allergic to latex. So you do not want to do traction on them, because if you try and decompress their spine, that's going to let more fluid come through here and fill that area.